Josh Hawley. So Josh Hawley is a fraud, and he thinks he's a populist, but he's not. He's actually a fraud, and I'm going to explain why. And actually, so Joe Biden put out a weak-ass infrastructure bill. Weak as hell. And Josh Hawley's dumbass decided, I'm going to go against it. Watch this.
Just think about it in terms of what's better for America, not Democrat, Republican, individual. What's going to grow America more? What's going to grow America more? What's going to make us more competitive, stronger? What's going to make us better educated? And the good news is, I think there's overwhelming bipartisan support for this. If you look at the polling data, Republican voters overwhelmingly support it. Now I just got to get some of my Republican colleagues to support it.
Well, we know who he's talking about. Guys in the Senate. Let's bring in Republican Senator from Missouri, Josh Hawley, author of a brand new book, comes out today. It's called The Tyranny of Big Tech. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, according to the president, overwhelming support, bipartisan support, Republicans across the country support it, but he needs some of you Republicans in the Senate to support it. Mitch McConnell said yesterday, there's not one senator on the Republican side going to support it.
Yeah, I certainly hope that that's right. And I don't know what Republicans that President Biden is talking to across the country, but it's nobody who lives in Missouri. I mean, listen, I can't imagine that there's Republican support for bringing socialism to America, which is basically what his plan is. I mean, he's proposed now $4 trillion in new big government spending just in the last month. This is on top of the $2 trillion he's already spent this year. He's mortgaging everybody's future in order to do what? Fund a bunch of liberal pet projects, cancel energy jobs, let China run away with the global competition. I mean, it's crazy stuff that he's proposing to do. And I don't think there's any broad-based support for it, certainly not among Republicans or independents.
Okay, so Joe Biden is saying this is not a Republican issue, it's not a Democrat issue, it's an American issue. What's going to make America smarter, better? What's going to help us in the world? And look, Joe Biden, you know I don't like him. I don't like you, Joe. But he's right on this. Joe Biden is factually right for once. And Josh Hawley is wrong. He's dead wrong on the facts. And he knows he's fucking wrong. He knows it. He fucking knows it. You know, so Josh Hawley, here's the thing. He says he's a populist. Populist Republicans don't exist. They don't exist. Now, Republican voters who are maybe socially conservative, part of unions, right? But economically liberal, right? So socially liberal or socially, socially conservative, a part of a union, economically liberal, are Republican populists. That is a Republican populist, right? Why? Because they need to put food on the table for their families. Now, you can say, he's a populist, Josh Hawley. No, he's not. He supported outsourcing deals. He didn't even support the $15 minimum wage. So don't even give me the fact that he's a populist. Don't give me that shit. So now I'm gonna go into Biden's plans. He says Biden's plans are terrible. Now, which parts of Biden's plans are terrible, Josh Hawley? Because I really want to know. So let's take a look at Biden's plan. Let's take a look and say, okay, so he wants to spend $621 billion for transportation. That means improving bridges, railways, highways, tunnels, etc. Streets, sidewalks, everything, our infrastructure, whatever. Now he wants to do home care services and the workforce, spending $400 billion. Now, that includes help for the elderly and the disabled and people, Americans with disabilities. I'm not going to say disabled Americans because they have other qualities. Now, he wants to spend $300 billion on to boost manufacturing. Now, if you're a populist, you absolutely want to spend to boost our manufacturing here in this country, because that's what y'all talked about on the campaign trail. So come on, Josh Hawley. Now he wants to spend $213 billion on housing. If you're tired of seeing homeless people on the street, maybe this would be a good thing for you to support. Maybe you want to put people in houses so we can clean up our streets, huh? Josh Hawley. Now he wants to go spend $180 billion on research and development to make the U.S. A leader in critical technology. He wants to spend $111 billion on upgrading our water infrastructure. So, like, for example, to getting rid of lead pipes. 400,000 schools have childcare facilities have lead in their water because their infrastructure is so fucking old that they now need help because their infrastructure is so goddamn old. Now, and they have lead, which is killing our children. Now he wants to spend $100 billion on schools. I think that's too little. We need to fix our education. It's going to take a lot more than that. He wants to spend $100 billion on digital infrastructure, which is colossally important to be competitive globally competitive. Now, workforce development and job training, that's job training including in vocational services to put people to work. Republicans claim they care about that. He wants to spend $100 billion on that. He wants to spend on veterans hospitals and federal buildings, $18 billion on that. I think we need to put more, but hey, Josh Hawley, you say you support that. You say you support the veterans, so why don't you want to spend on that? Now, how is Joe Biden going to pay for it? Because obviously people are going to ask that. Conservative, who's going to pay for it? Well, he's going to pay for it through a corporate tax hike. So whenever people say, he's going to raise taxes. Yeah, on the rich who have the most money, not on the poor who have the least amount of money. That's who he's going to raise it on. Now, he's also going to do it by ending corporate inversions because that's how people evade taxes. So that's how people get away with not paying taxes. So, so Josh Hawley is not a Republican. Populist. I wish he wasn't a Republican, but he's not a populist. And I wonder, Josh Hawley, what part of this bill do you hate? What parts of this bill? Give me a specific part that you don't like, that you think is just terrible. Oh, wait, you can't, because then you're going to be known as the bullshit person you are. Yeah, no, you can't talk about that, because then people are going to know you're just a dumbass and a piece of garbage, because you're not there for them. That's why he's not saying it. Now, to further illustrate that point, Morning Consult poll came out. Biden's affordable child care plan. You know what percentage of the people support that? 64% of the people. I don't know. Maybe because we want to make sure our kids have health insurance and health care. Really, we deserve Medicare for all. We should do it. But anyway, people want to take care of the kids. Universal pre-K for moms and dads, especially single moms and dads. Single moms who need to leave their kids somewhere while they go to work. And they want to educate their kids. Maybe not sending them to daycare, but to school so we can further our education in this country. 63% of the American people support that. How about free community college? 59% of the country. So the people in our country support all of these policies. And if you are someone who claims to be populist and you don't support these policies, well, you've got a problem. Because Republican voters, right? Someone who's in a union in Missouri, Josh Hawley, they support these bills. They support something that's going to get them food on the table. You see this? This is a cup of soda. It's a cup of soda, right? But people want a cup of water. They want bread. They want ham and cheese to make sandwiches for school lunches. They want oatmeal for breakfast and cereal and just anything to feed their families. That's what they want. So if you're going to sit here and say, oh, you're a populist, give me a fucking break. If you're not supporting any of these things, then you're not a populist at all. Okay? You're just not a populist. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you're being unfair. Oh, you're just wrong. Really? Because according to the voters, I'm correct. I'm correct. And so are other progressive people who are pointing this out. So, if you don't support these, I feel bad for you. Because the majority of the people do. And by the way, Josh Hawley can't even support these weak, meek, dumbass, little ass, Infrastructure bill? Joe Biden's not even proposing $5 trillion, which is what we need to efficiently or to sufficiently joke for Tucker, if you're watching, to sufficiently fix our infrastructure. He's not even proposing that. He's not proposing that. So if Josh Hawley can't give me the socialist policies that he's against, well then, guess what? You're just a lying dirtbag and a shit face. You're a fuck face. Because you can't tell me which parts you don't support of this bill. Oh wait, because if you do, the American people are gonna see that. And that's not a good idea for Mr. Josh Hawley. So, no populist Republicans, no moderate Republicans. Give me a goddamn break. That isn't the case.